The Unyielding Climb. In a small village nestled at the foot of a towering mountain, there lived a young man named Arun. The mountain, known as Mount Invictus, was the tallest and most treacherous peak in the region. Many had attempted to reach its summit, but none had succeeded. The villagers believed that it was impossible to conquer, and over time, they stopped trying. But Arun was different. From a young age, he had always been fascinated by the mountain. He would often stand at its base, gazing up at the snow-capped peak that seemed to touch the heavens. To him, Mount Invictus wasn't just a mountain. It was a challenge, a calling point. One crisp morning, as the sun painted the sky with hues of orange and gold, Arun decided that it was time. He announced to the villagers that he was going to climb Mount Invictus. They laughed and shook their heads, warning him of the dangers that lay ahead. No one has ever made it to the top, Arun. The mountain is unbeatable, they said. But Arun was undeterred. I would rather try and fail than live my life wondering if I could have succeeded, he replied. With nothing but a small backpack and a heart full of determination, Arun set out on his journey. The first few days were relatively easy. The weather was fair, and the path, though steep, was manageable. But as he climbed higher, the terrain became more challenging. Loose rocks threatened to trip him, and the air grew thinner, making each breath a struggle. On the fifth day, a fierce storm rolled in, battering Arun with icy winds and blinding snow. He found shelter under a rocky overhang, shivering as the cold seeped into his bones. For the first time, doubt crept into his mind. He was alone, miles away from home, facing a mountain that had defeated all who had come before him. As the storm raged on, Arun remembered the stories he had heard about the mountain. It's too dangerous, they had said. It's not worth the risk. But deep down, Arun knew that the real challenge wasn't the mountain. It was the battle within himself. It was the voice of doubt that whispered he wasn't strong enough, brave enough, or skilled enough. With renewed determination, Arun decided that he would not let fear dictate his actions. The storm eventually passed, leaving behind a clear, star-filled sky. Arun emerged from his shelter, bruised but not broken. He knew the climb would only get harder from here, but he was ready. The days that followed tested Arun in ways he had never imagined. He faced sheer cliffs, deep crevices, and icy slopes that seemed impossible to traverse. There were moments when he slipped and fell, moments when he thought he couldn't take another step. But each time, he reminded himself why he had started this journey in the first place. It wasn't just about reaching the summit. It was about proving to himself that he had the strength to overcome any obstacle. Finally, after weeks of climbing, Arun reached the final stretch. The summit was just within reach, but so was exhaustion. His body ached, his lungs burned, and his mind was weary. Yet, with one final burst of energy, Arun pushed himself onward, step by step, until he finally stood at the top of Mount Invictus. The view was breathtaking. Below him, the world stretched out in all directions, and above him, the sky was a brilliant blue. Arun fell to his knees, tears streaming down his face, not just because he had reached the summit, but because he had refused to give up. As he looked out over the horizon, Arun realized that the journey had changed him. He had discovered a strength within himself that he never knew existed, and as he made his way back down the mountain, he knew that no challenge, no matter how daunting, would ever seem impossible again. For Arun, the climb was not just a physical journey. It was a testament to the power of perseverance, the importance of believing in oneself, and the unyielding truth that no matter how difficult the path, one must never give up.